Today's reading is about Samuel Anthony Alito Jr. and he was born on April 1st, 1950. I did find that quite fun, but he's not a joke. I wish he was. Here he's represented by Pink Pants. And here we go. I had guidance on this to do a reading on Alito, and to look at his secret agenda and to see what else it says. All right. Samuel A. Alito, come on down. Secret agendas, what are you trying to do? And I'm going to pause this for a bit and study. So I've been studying for a while and doing some research. I have to say, this really surprised me. Some of what I'm going to say is available information. I just hadn't heard it. So when I think that Alito, or was to look at Alito's secret agenda, I thought it was his ideology, his stance towards women, his trips possibly. I had no idea. I hadn't heard this before. So I'll just explain. With this pattern right here, here's the relationship ring, and there is the conch shell inside, and there's also a female person here. I thought there's something involving his wife. So as far as I knew, I didn't know about his wife or that she worked. And as far as I know, she doesn't work. But she inherited from her father a trust. And I understand she's the trustee for her father's ongoing trust. He's been gone, I think, over 10 years. And she also, with the trust, inherited some stock. So in 2022, Martha, we'll call her Martha Ann, that's her name, Martha Ann Alito, signed a lease with a company called Citizens Energy 3. It is a Oklahoma company that does investments, private equity, but investments in oil leases and minerals in Oklahoma, primarily oil exploration deals. She signed a lease for what was her father's property, 160 acres in Grady, Oklahoma, and it gave her a percentage of what was made on the property. So if they were taking oil from the property, she gets more money. If they turn it off, she gets less. So it's basically turn on the fountain, turn off the fountain of money, so to speak, which is somewhat discretionary based on business choices. And this Citizens Energy is owned by Warburg Pincus, which is a leading global growth investor. It has 215 companies worldwide in investments. It's in everything from real estate, healthcare, energy, consumer, tech, etc., etc. So they have a broad range of worldwide interests, so they're very much affected by what happens in the United States in terms of regulation, everything from tax to hitting almost any energy sector, and especially when it comes to what you would say is government regulation and federal government regulation, and whether federal laws are supreme. So let's go through this, and it's very disturbing to think that a global investment private equity company can turn on and off the money directly paying the spouse of a Supreme Court justice. When we look at Pink Pants here, Alito, he's on top of a microphone. His head is on a snail that's upside down, and he's face up worried. He may be concerned about the snail is down, meaning, and the snail's shell also is this circular spiral. He is hoping there will be a slow amount of information before this comes out on the world stage or gets discussed. The lease agreement is public knowledge. It's filed in Grady County. It is on the internet. His disclosure has to be reported every May for the prior year, although they allow some extensions. His reporting in 2022, he listed that there was a mineral interest in Grady County, Oklahoma, because he's required to list his interest, including his wife's. The rent was estimated between $100K and $250K. It was based on an estimate. He doesn't list that there was a lease or the name of the company who they signed this lease with. We won't know what happened in 2023 in terms of whether there's an actual income for 2023 or not until after this is filed. So he probably will slow down whatever he says in terms of reporting, which I guess could be 90 days. But he is a bit worried about possible disclosure. And if we start over here with the Firestone in terms of reading the elemental stones, Firestone is in fire and partially in nature. It's right next to the Deepwater Stone. So the Deepwater Stone generally means consciousness, healing, etc., etc. But with the two snake bones here, both in the Deepwater section, it's oil. So he has a vision of oil, and this is sacred values, and a value of lining up what he does, what his wisdom is, according to the value of oil, because this would benefit him directly. And it's a hand reaching to this value, or his hand on the law, or also the impact that others can have on his decision making and his vision. So right here we have what's the intention. Firestone is the intention. His intention is all about oil and receiving and following the wisdom in order to benefit himself. When you have a coin here and a shell on top, that's accessible wealth, so some is accessible. When we go next to the blue water stone in nature, the blue water, I believe in this, all of this, the water is the flow of oil. And in nature, it can be turned on, it can be turned off. Nature can mean chaotic, nature can mean changing or seasons. So it's the understanding that your oil from your property can be turned on and off. This is the nature stone here next to the snake stone here. There's two snake stones, 1, 2. Now, I don't know if this is 2 locations on the Grady property, on the 160-acre property that has a well. There might be one that's known that's been accessed. There looks like another that hasn't. This, I don't believe, has been turned on because the shell is down. And then we have the earth stone here in mineral, which is a lack of, how do you say this? Visibility. It's related to visibility. It's related to hiding something. So he did disclose that there is this mineral interest, but if you're trying to measure the agreement and say, what would you then recuse yourself from in terms of your investments? when you have this broad consortium of all these investments that maybe aren't even listed, or we don't know who has money in the holding company or the main investor for Citizens Energy, it's impossible to measure or tell who you can actually be benefiting. So when the Supreme Court has reduced the liability for potential bribery, etc., when it comes to government officials, and they've everything except quid pro quo. If you do this, I'll do this. You have quid pro quo. So when you de-link the you do this, I'll do this, it's very difficult to get a bribery or corruption case, and then it almost becomes like the law is meaningless. But it is virtually impossible where you have a consortium. This ring is a consortium, a piece here, and you have the genie ring here. So you have this group, a large group of different interests, of varying interests, some known, some not. And when they want to get what they want to get, like a shell and a genie ring, to manifest their desire for an outcome in the Supreme Court, they can do that without a direct link or being able to measure. So it's not technically illegal. Anyway, it already arguably is impacting. Prior to this agreement with the mineral rights, Alito was involved in a clean water case. In the case this morning that was in oral arguments about the Idaho law and being able to get care in emergency rooms, Alito was saying something in related to supremacy, and he was talking with the Solicitor General, and he didn't like something, but he didn't say I didn't like it. He says, I don't understand that. And it's really a well-known area of law, and you could tell she had a hard time even responding to that, because it was really like a throwaway line. It wasn't like, I don't like it, I want to change it, but I don't understand it, like it doesn't make sense to him. Well, if you have a secret agenda whereby you want the payoff, or you want to open up your back pocket so you can get money, it's a definite change or adjustment in his values that he's organizing. Again, mineral right here, and mineral, and the mountain stone here, mineral and mineral. This is all about mineral rights. This is about him achieving the greatness. So I think this is about retiring a very wealthy man with a big income, and besides his other ideological goals or achievements. What I'm not clear about with this right here is there's glasses here, there's a decision. Under here is the angel. With the angel is sometimes with the justice. Inside the relationship ring, which would indicate the wife, is the conch shell. This can mean a repetition of messages, but it could also mean capture or recording messages. So I'm not sure if it is the Justice Department or possibly or reporters that have made a decision to look at this arrangement or this story of with the wife, and you have the reading stone that's in earth. What's being organized here with this deal that they've made over the land that really reaches out internationally, and you get the international aspect. This caught my eye when I first saw it. This is the platform of power. It's on water, this could be land with oil underneath. This is visible. This is outside. I do think that there's an international aspect to the business, the owners of the or the Investors in Citizens Energy, that has an international component, but we don't know who the actual investors potentially are. And again, we have a female here in the deep water, a piece of wood here, which means a decision. This could mean in the tree of life, this could also mean his decision will come out about further rulings about limiting abortion rights, or basically limiting health care. And the situation with Idaho would be extreme limitation of health care. This could also mean the wife invested into the oil aspect, and paper, where this is the gold, it's still an aside. I don't know yet if there's money, but there's accessible money coming in. The elephant ring is here, which can mean a group or attention. There's a crystal here. All in all, I think someone is looking at this deal, and there may be, and we may see and they may try to make the links between what the interests are in the cases that are being decided by Alito. But it could also mean that there are either domestic or international, here's the teacup here, like English, that have captured stories or insider accounts about what is being organized as a way to turn on and off the faucet for funneling funds directly to Alito for decisions that would be helpful to oil or the array of other interests held by this holding company. So, secret agenda? Yes. Is it likely to come out? My take is yes, but I don't know how long. But I just hadn't seen this aspect of it. And next time, I think it will be Thomas.